Welcome back, everyone, and we are on project 8D, shape optimization. We're going to go in using finite element analysis, and we're going to be able to find where the stresses are so that we can make this part unique and more efficient so that we can use additive manufacturing to be able to create it. So you've already had a little intro into this on your first project a little earlier in project 8, and I want to show you how to do this one. Now, we're not using the Phantom hole again. We're using shaped optimization, and Fusion has a really good software and ability to do that. So let's go in here and let's get this figured out. First, I want to come down and see we're going to put 1,000 newtons of force in this direction, and we got 6 holes that we're going to bolt down. So you got to draw this up first and get this drawed, and make sure that you use ABS as your material. It's going to look like this. So when you get in here, we want to go to simulation. And if y'all remember last time we done static stress, we didn't do shape optimization. We were just doing finite element analysis with static stress. This time we're going to use FEA as shape optimization. So click on this, and we're going to create study. So in that, it works the same way as you've done it before, but we've got first we got to put constraints on, and all I want to do is use fixed constraints is fine, and I want to come here and just grab the cylinders, and that's going to lock it in every direction, X, Y, and Z, and I hit OK on that. So it's locked down. We have the material already figured out. Now make sure that you save this part in the correct material. And if you want to check it and see what it is, you can go to Study Materials and Edit ABS Plastic. Okay, so it's really good to be able to identify that, because you want to make sure when you do the analysis on it. Next thing I want to do is put load on it. Come in here, click on this, and the force is going straight up here. I could turn it to whatever degree I want, but what was that, 1,000 newtons? Yep, 1,000 newtons. So I go in here and put 1,000 newtons, and that one, entered that in, so we got that. So there's one more thing that I want to do, and it's preserve. Now preserve is just like what it means. You know, if you're preserving food, you want to save it. You don't want it to ruin. Well, whenever I put force on this, I don't want this circle right here. I don't want it to be deformed. I want it to be preserved. I'm wanting to see where the stresses are in the rest of this part away from this. So what I do is I come up here, and we have what's called preserve. And if you go to shape optimization, you got preserve regions. And all you have to do is basically just click on this hole, and actually I want this whole circle around here, this ball, so I want the whole thing, and I really need to see what size that is. So I can go back to my original drawing. 15's diameter, 7.5's radius, plus 6, so that'd be 13.5. So my radius is 13.5, and that covers the whole thing. So we got that point. We're in good shape. And also, I want to do meshes. Y'all see meshes here? Let's go up in our mesh. The more, let's see, 10%. The more mesh that we have, and I'll right click, generate mesh. I just want to see how much I've got here. The more mesh you have, and see like this, let's go back and edit it. I went the wrong way on it. That's my problem. My fault. So I'll go back down this way, and I want to regenerate that mesh. And you can see it, the mesh is a lot closer together. The closer it is in your triangulation, the more accurate you're going to be. It's not going to be a whole lot of difference, but whenever you use the tighter triangulation, you're going to be able to get into more difficult spots, more detail. So we got that in there. It looks good. And I want to come up here and do a pre-check, make sure I've got everything. So the study has everything that it needs. So I hit OK on that one. Now I'm just going to hit solve and see what it comes up with. So this will take just a few minutes to, because I moved the triangulation up. So you're going to look at probably 5 minutes or so for this thing to get calculated out. All right, it is finished processing, so I'll close this out and take a look at it. And as you see, as the force is being applied on this pin right here and pulling up, right here seems to be where the major stress is, coming down to here. And that's about where I figured it would have been as well. So with that, we can go in, and there's a little bit of stresses around the bolt holes that's holding it down. We can go in and we can clean some of this up, because if you'll notice, over here doesn't have any stresses, and we can take and we can find, see how that stress, all that stresses, you can kind of look at it and see. But really anything in this area over here is not getting any stress. So we can do something with this. We can put some fillets on these edges. We can clean it up and make it more efficient, make it faster to make, right? So let's do that, and I'll show you how that's done. While we're inside this thing, we can go over here to Result Tools, and we can do what's called Promote. And what that does is it takes and it puts this stress area into your original design. So let's go do that. Let's go in there and do Promote. And existing simulation model, that's what I want. So hit OK on that, and see now how it shows it. And we can even come down here into our visual style, and we can change it into like wireframe, something like that. So that way you can kind of see it a little bit. Sometimes the wireframe will play tricks with your eyes, so let's do a little something different than that. Shade it with hidden edges. That looks a little better. So we now know what we're going to do. So in this mode, we're in simplify mode. The problem of it is, if you go outside of simplify mode, you have to go back in it to use this to do any modifications. If I were to hit finish simplify mode, it takes me out of it. Y'all see that? I want to be in simplify. So you got to right click, finish results, and now when I'm back in here, I had to finish all that to get back to simplify. And when I go back to simplify, it lets me see my stress and where I promoted that into my drawing. And in this place, I can create my sketch, and I can come in here. I'm going to use a spline, and I'm just going to, and I'm going to leave this. I want to leave the original shape, but I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to eliminate some of this stuff, some of this material that I don't need. I'm not going all the way up against it, but I'm getting pretty close, because there's no sense of having extra material if you don't need it, because you're over designing the part. And that's totally against what advanced manufacturing process is. You're trying to streamline it and make it more, just like that. You're trying to make it more efficient to make and less expensive. So here, catch that. I want to cut that thing all the way through. So that looks good. You can go in there and modify and do fillets, but just for sake of time, you do however you see fit. But I mean, I can go in there and just catch that or something and put like a 10, just wherever you're not hitting your stress points, and clean it up. So again, make sure you're in simplify when you do this. So I'm finished my sketch, and it looks like that. But the thing of it is, whenever I finish my sketch, I want to show you something. If I go in here to save this as an STL in 3D print, it doesn't allow me to. Again, you have to be in simplify. So when I'm in simplify, come over here and down to 3D print. I can do it. Click on my part, make sure millimeters, high refinement, and then of course You don't need to send a 3D print utility. You can if you have that set up, and just hit OK. Make sure you save this to your cloud drive, and I want you to share it with me, and I want the link because you'll see that inside of your submission form. I want some pictures taken of this and put on that submission form, as well as your STL where you shared it from your drive. So if you need help with it, just let me know.